Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 359th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. Straight away you'll see that this battle was fought on an unusual map. This is a seldom used map called the Scottish Highlands map. Also, I'd just like to say that, as you know, I sometimes put older battles on, but this one was only fought last night, Friday. As I say, this is an unusual map, seldom used by RTW players. You see it's got big open plains, it's got trees, and if you notice the ground slightly slopes on both sides. So there's no clear advantage to either side, but you have got like unusual terrain with the slopes, the trees, the open plains, and that big rock. Okay, our first teammate is Brotherhood member JGP, who has bought the Rome SPQR faction. And if you notice here, he's got 4 archers and 10 infantry. Just have a look at the upgrades on his archers. Okay, can you see he's got 8 upgrades on his archers? So that's 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Now that's some serious archer power there. Those auxiliary archers are good anyway, but so with those type of upgrades on, that kind of makes them like almost super archers there. So he's got 4 of those, and let's say he's got 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he's got 10 infantry. Now, 10 infantry is a small amount of infantry to bring on the modern day battlefield, so it'd be interesting to see how well he does with those. And I see he's got 6 cavalry. Let's have a look at the upgrades on his cavalry. I see he's got 7 upgrades. So he's got an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry. So that's an interesting army build there, but will 10 infantry cut it on the modern day battlefield? It'd just be interesting to see. Our next teammate is Brotherhood member Legion 22, who has bought the Carthage faction. I think Legion likes using Carthage. I noticed he's been using Carthage quite a lot recently, and he's very good with the Carthage faction. I see he's got, I think it's 16 spear units there, Sacred Band spear units, 2 slingers, and 2 fast-moving cavalry units. Let's have a look at the upgrades on his Sacred Bands. You see he's got 7 upgrades. So that's an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his Sacred Band spearman. So he's got 2, I think it's Balearic slingers there. Yeah, they've got quite good range, and they've got loads and loads of ammunition. So used properly, they can cause a lot of casualties to the enemy. And as I say, he's got 2 fast-moving general armoured bodyguard units there. So that's an interesting Carthage build there, but as I say, no heavy cavalry. So it'll be interesting to see how the army does during the course of the battle. Our next teammate is Brotherhood member Bark, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. Now he has also got just 10 infantry and 4 archers. Okay, so once again, that's a small amount of infantry to bring to the modern day battlefield. Just 10 infantry and 4 archers. So with him and JGP with only 10 infantry each, this could be maybe a bit of an uphill battle maybe. Let's have a look at his cavalry. Okay, he's got very serious cavalry. 8 upgrades. So that's 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Now, Praetorian cavalry are elite cavalry anyway, but you put those upgrades on them, and that makes those cavalry extremely serious cavalry. But as I say, with only 10 infantry, will the big upgrades on the cavalry make a difference? We'll have to wait and see. And our 4th teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who has unusually bought an old Macedon army. Now, I haven't used this army for a long time. So I just thought I fancied bringing it last night. I don't know why. I just thought, well, I'll bring it for a bit of a change. I think I've got 12 pike units. Let's have a look at the upgrades on my pike units. As you can see, I've got 7 upgrades. So that's an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. And just like to, as I said before, look at the length of those pikes. That's why Roman generals don't like attacking pikes head on, because the Roman troops have got to work their way all the way down those pikes to kill the man on the other end. So that's why Roman generals are a bit reluctant to charge pikes head on. As I say, this is an old Macedon army of mine. You can see I've got 4 Cretan archers. Remember, the 120 man units are extremely susceptible to archer damage. That's why I've got those archers. And I've got 4 cavalry units. Let's have a look at the upgrades on the cavalry units. Okay, this particular cavalry unit's got 7 upgrades. That's an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. But I think the other cavalry units have got 8 upgrades on. So there's my own Macedon army there. It'll be interesting to see how this, as you know, I like to bring old armies to the modern day battlefield just to see how well they can do, and I think it'll be interesting to see how well this army does. So there's our team. Should be a great battle for you to watch on an unusual map. Okay, so at this stage of the battle, I thought we'd have a look at my Macedon formation there. As you can see, nothing really special with the formation. I've got quite a wide formation there, I suppose, and I've got one pilot shield unit in the front of my main battle line. So you've got my 4 cavalry and my archers there ready to run. Now the battle plan here is for us to all run up to JGP on the other flank. See JGP's SBQR army up there? That's the plan. That's where we're going to run up to there. Just like to show you a good bit of teamwork here. Can you see Barak has put his cavalry there? That's to stop. So as I run behind his cavalry there, if there is any fast cavalry strikes from the enemy team, he's got his 6 cavalry there to protect my army as I move across. It's an old-fashioned cover tactic there, but it's well welcomed there. Very good bit of teamwork. Just have a look at our Carthage allies formation there. As you can see there, he's got a good tight Carthage formation there with 2 pilot shield units at the front. But as I say, with a lack of heavy cavalry, he hasn't got any sacred band heavy cavalry. It'll be interesting to see how well the army does during the course of the battle. Right, now over here you can see that JGP has got his army right on the forward purple line there. Okay, so he looks to me like he's going to be extremely aggressive right from the beginning of the battle here. It looks to me like he's going to charge straight across, straight into the enemy Brutii army facing him. So I'll be interested to see if he does that. And here is the other team. We have our Brotherhood member Aurelius, who has bought the Rome Brutii faction. Let's have a look at his army there. I think he's got 14 infantry units there, maybe 13 or 14 infantry units. But unusually you might spot he's got 2 units that you don't usually see in the modern day infantry units there. He's got 2 eagle units. Okay, if you notice there, he's got 1 eagle unit there and 1 just behind him. Okay, so he's got 2 eagle units. Now that's going to give him a good lot of morale because he's also got infantry general. So that's a lot of morale for his infantry. And he's got 6 cavalry with 7 upgrades on. So that's an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack. So that's an interesting army build there with a lot of morale for his infantry. Okay, so now we're going to go over this big Scottish rock on the Scottish Highland map. And there you can see we have Brotherhood member Cody Ray 611, who's also bought the Rome Brutii faction. And I think he's got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. So he's got the bog standard 31k Roman army there. Very effective, very efficient. Let's have a look at the upgrades there. He's got an eagle unit as a general. Okay, now bringing an eagle unit as a general. Okay, it's a 120 man unit, but it's not as tough as an urban cohort. So if enemy urban cohorts start to attack this general there, it's more likely to rout a lot quicker than if it was an urban cohort. So he's going to have to keep that unit out of the battle for as long as he possibly can. Okay, the third teammate is an RTW player who's called himself Pogle's Wood, but is in fact Cornovi or One Eye, as a lot of you might know him. As you can see, he's bought the Germania faction. This is an unusual army build here. I see he's got 3 spear warband units there, very rarely used by people. But also, can you see he's adapted an old tactic here? He's put his 3 berserker units in with his cavalry, trying to integrate them into the cavalry, because in the old days people used to do that, as I say, as an old tactic, hoping that people won't notice their berserkers hidden within their cavalry. And then of course all of a sudden the berserkers charge and hopefully they'll catch the enemy off guard. So that's an old tactic. And I see he's got 6 archer units. That's a lot of archer units there. If you look at the upgrade, he's got 7 upgrades on those archer units. That's an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack. And I see he's got 2 peasant units. Okay, so that is a very, very unusual Germania army build there. And it'll be interesting to see how well it does during the course of the battle. Okay, their 4th teammate is RTW player Kim Jong-lee. Kim Jong-lee. A lot of you know him, very good 31k player. And he has bought the Seleucid faction. Now, if you notice, he's got 4 silver shield units in front of his main pike battle line there. Whether they're going to be pilot shield units or whether he'll use them for something else, we just have to wait and see. And he's got his 6 cataphract cavalry at the back. So he's got 10 pikes, 4 silver shield legionnaires and 6 cataphracts. Let's have a look at the upgrades. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's got 7 upgrades on his cataphract cavalry. So that's an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack. And remember, we call these cavalry the tanks of the ancient world because they're literally armoured from head to toe. And used correctly, make no mistake, these can be battle-winning troops. Okay, so there's the enemy team. As I say, this battle's fought on the Scottish Highland map, a very not very used map. Okay, just as we said earlier here, you can see JGP was formed up right on the edge of his area there, ready to attack the enemy opposite him. And if you can see here, JGP's being extremely aggressive towards Aurelius's Brutii army here. Really, really aggressive here. But unfortunately, JGP moving over to this right flank is moving further and further away from his allies. So if anything happens to him, he is going to be isolated. But as you can see he's got real attacking intentions there. Really wants to attack the Brutii general in front of him. Now, if you notice here, Cody has brought his army around the rocks. Remember, his army was on the other side of the rock. He's brought his army around there. And I think he's thinking here, he's got his cavalry primed and ready here now. Look, can you see the danger, newer players to Rome Total War? Can you see the dangers, JGP? Okay, Cody Ray here will be looking to charge his cavalry up into the flank of JGP's engaged infantry, is what I'm thinking there. You can see that Legion 22 is moving his spearmen forward, but of course he's got no heavy cavalry to be able to send over to JGP. His is a spear-based army there. Remember, he's got no heavy cavalry, so if Cody Ray sends his Brutii cavalry over to hit JGP in the flank, and JGP being so far away from his allies, there's not a lot we'll be able to do here. Okay, as I say, JGP's moving further and further over to the right. As I say, he looks really in an aggressive mode here. But as you can see, Cody Ray spotted maybe the tactical mistake here, and he is now moving his cavalry over to smash into the side of JGP's flank. Okay, and there's that enemy Brutii cavalry in wedge formation for more penetration, and bang, as that cavalry smashes into the flank of JGP's infantry. So now JGP is fighting enemy on two fronts, one on his left flank and one on his right flank there. And my guess is that Aurelius here has spotted that, and he had charged his cavalry in as well. See, that Brutii cavalry was just about to charge in, and he pulled them back. But as you can see, JGP's SBQR troops now are being stretched on both flanks. Okay, this is a really dangerous position for JGP, and don't forget, he is holding our right flank. If he breaks, they could then roll us up from right to left. Okay, but as you can see, his allies are a long way away from him because he's moved over so far to the right here. As I say, we're a long way away. We can't get over to help him. And you can see the Germania and Seleucid Cataphract cavalry coming over to this flank as well. It's like they smell blood. They're like on their way over there to trying to eke out JGP's army. Okay. Now, if you notice here, Cody Ray is engaging our Carthage ally here. So he's going to be holding the Carthage army. They're stopping him from sending reinforcements over. So that'll be an interesting little tussle there between Rome and Carthage. But as I say, our main concern here is our right flank. And if JGP gets taken out here on our right flank, then of course I would think the battle won't be very long there, because obviously the enemy will then roll us up from right to left. JGP's trying to reform. He's trying to pull back a little bit there, but as I say, he was really aggressive right from the beginning of the battle. Right, can you see the Germania and Seleucid cavalry on the way over? Here's a close-up of the enemy Brutii cavalry fighting JGP's cavalry there. As I say, you can see the enemy cavalry coming over here now. They're really charging into JGP's infantry. That Seleucid tank cavalry in wedge formation for more impact, and bang, the Brutii cavalry charging forward, and bang, as that charges into JGP's beleaguered infantry. You can see Barks brought his Scipii cavalry over there to try and neutralise some of the enemy cavalry hits, but now a lot of the enemy cavalry are charging onto Barks' cavalry here. You can see I've got my Macedon, my 4 Macedon companion cavalry there as well. I'm going to try and charge into the fray. Bang, as my Macedon cavalry smashes into the flank and the front of the enemy cavalry there, and bang, as the other 2 units charging as well. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second, take stock of exactly what's happening. Right, you can see here there's a big cavalry battle here between the enemy cavalry and our own. As I say, I've just charged in my Macedon companion cavalry, but there's more Germania cavalry and Seleucid cavalry charging. Remember that Germania cavalry, really underestimated cavalry, but really good. JGP's put his infantry into Testudo to try and help them survive longer here, but as I say, things not looking very good on our right flank. And if they do smash JGP's infantry, then it'll just be a matter of time before they roll us up from right to left. Okay, you can see a lot of JGP's infantry starting to rout here with the numbers game here of the enemy. As I say, he put his units into Testudo, which was a smart move to try and get them to survive as long as they could, but they're starting to rout left, right and centre now. There's a Berserker unit being sent over here as well. Remember, that Berserker unit brings an intimidation factor that lowers the morale of enemy troops. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second here. Right, can you see JGP's general has just been routed? I think there's one of JGP's infantry units left here, but the Berserkers are heading straight into that unit. Remember, those Berserkers bring a big fear factor which lowers the morale of enemy troops, plus they got effective against armor maces, and don't forget their 2 hit points and excellent attacking specifications. So as I say here, if you notice now, most of JGP's infantry has now been taken out on our right flank, and so our right flank has now been broken. Okay, make no mistake about that, our right flank has now been broken by the aggressive enemy attack there. Okay, now bearing in mind I've just run all the way over from the other flank, so I've just got there's Bark moving his infantry forward. But maybe now he's seen that JGP's units have all been taken out, he may well move back towards our Carthage ally here. Right, if you notice here, can you see Carthage is now facing, as I said earlier, the enemy Brutii infantry. But if you notice, the enemy Seleucid infantry are now running behind their Brutii ally. Their Brutii ally are covering them from the Carthage attack, so the Seleucid infantry can now run over to the other flank if they want. Germania, well upgraded archers, they are shooting into us all the time from a higher elevated position there, so they will be getting more impact and doing more damage with their archers. As I say, this battle was only fought last night, Friday, so it's like a brand new battle. But as you can see here, they are the last of JGP's infantry has now been routed. Okay, so after a fierce fight on our right flank has now been broken. I see all the Berserkers have now been activated. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second. So I can see the 3 Berserker units now. I can see their flashing banners, so they have now all been activated there. I think there was one of JGP's routing units there sparked off those other 2 Berserker units. Remember, enemy units, whether they're routing or whether they're not routing, will kind of spark off Berserker units there. So all 3 Berserker units have now been activated. JGP still got his cavalry left. That's good. He's still got his well upgraded cavalry left, but as I say, all his infantry has now been taken out. There's a Berserker unit that, remember, Berserker units, once they go Berserk, are no longer under the control of a Germania general. They just attack the nearest enemy unit. As you can see here, they're going for JGP's cavalry there. And the last thing you want is to tangle Berserkers with cavalry, really. It's not a very good idea head on. But if you notice, the other 2 Berserker units have headed towards Bark's Scipii troops. Right, you can see here, Bark is in a precarious position, a really dangerous position on the battlefield here. Can you see why? He's got enemy troops coming in from his front, including those 2 Berserker units and all that Brutii infantry, all that enemy cavalry they're ready to smash in. But look what's coming in behind him. The Seleucid infantry with their pikes are coming in behind Bark here. Remember, they ran behind their Brutii ally to avoid Carthage attack, and they are now coming in. So Bark now is going to be sandwiched between the enemy troops there. As I say, if you notice, I'm running my Macedon units over to cover his rear if I can, but I've just run all the way over from the other flank. My troops are going to be tired, and of course you don't really want to fight them when they're tired, but this is really a bit of an emergency. As you can see, Legion 22's Carthage Sacred Band are doing really well against the enemy Brutii troops. Remember, the Brutii troops haven't been able to get round his flank or get behind him, so they're having to face him frontwards on. Remember, that's what a spear and pike general wants. They want Roman troops to attack them head on, and that's what's happening there. So Legion 22 is doing good with his Carthage Sacred Band there. Okay, so as I say, Bark is in a really dangerous position here, and it looks like, if we're not careful, his whole army is going to get taken out here as well. Although he's charging his cavalry in here, nice little cavalry charge there, but the main thing is here, look at that Seleucid cavalry, look at the Germania cavalry, and bang, as they charge in. Here comes the Seleucid cavalry, and bang, as that cavalry charges in. He's got 2 Berserker units, lowering the morale of his troops, as well as smashing into his infantry as well. Let's say you got the Seleucid troops right up behind him there as well. And a lot of Bark's units, as you can see, are starting to rout. Okay, so you can see that. Let's pause the game for a second. So Seleucid cavalry, Germania cavalry, Berserker units charging into his flank has routed a lot of Bark's infantry there. Plus he's got those Seleucid pikemen and Silver Shield legionnaires behind him as well. So as you can see, Bark's army is on the way to being completely routed there. So as I say, our right flank, and it looks like maybe our right centre is starting to fail here. So as I say, the enemy will be looking to roll us up from right to left. Okay, as I say, my Macedon army, I've run all the way over from the other flank. My units are going to be tired. And you know, you don't really like fighting your units when they're tired because their battle efficiency has dropped quite a lot. But as I say, this is an emergency. I'm going to have to throw my Macedon pikemen in there to try and get in behind Bark's infantry there and try and fight off those Seleucid pikemen once they start attacking his the rear of his units there. You can see Aurelius is Brutii cavalry charging as well. Bang! As that cavalry charges into Bark's moving infantry, routing more of Bark's units there. As I say, things not looking very good. Those 2 berserker units have charged into my pikemen. Now I'm glad about that because you should see them disappear off the map, because charging into my pikemen there, they will die quickly. Right, okay, so... well, one of the berserker units did anyway. Right, I'd just like to show you how bad our position has just got. Can you see a lot of my Macedon units have now been routed as well? Remember, Macedon morale is not very good. That berserker unit has lowered their morale as well, plus the enemy attacking them, and a lot of my units have now been routed. I can see at least 4 or 5 of my Macedon units have been routed there as well. Okay, so, and that's because they were tired. In fact, they're very tired. That's one step off of being exhausted, and I've just got a few units left now facing those Seleucid pikemen there. I see Bark's managed to save a few of his infantry units, but a lot of them are battle damaged. But Bark has still got his cavalry, and if you notice here, I think Legion 22 is doing really well against the enemy Brutii infantry here. He's doing really well at holding them, so he's done well. But remember, all the time those really well upgraded Germania chosen archers have been shooting fire arrows into our troops, not only causing casualties, but of course the fire arrows lower morale as well. Okay, so things, as I say, not looking very good for our team at the moment. You can see Bark's got 4 infantry units left, and they're all battle damaged. I've lost a lot of my Macedon pikemen as well. And if I'm not careful, I'm going to have Brutii infantry as well as a Seleucid infantry attacking my Macedon pikemen. So I think JGP's still got his cavalry left, which could be a good thing. Depends on how well he uses that SPQ cavalry, but that's really good that he's still got them. So there's a general overview. As I say, Bark's got 4 infantry units left, and there's 1 berserker unit attacking his infantry there. Right, can you see the enemy Brutii and Germania cavalry are trying to chase down JGP's cavalry. They would love for him to engage them because the numbers game would then tell. But very tactically there, JGP moving his cavalry away from those enemy cavalry there. So well done to JGP for doing that. But as I say, I'm very aware here of my Macedon units. They're being attacked from 2 flanks, okay? Not only the Seleucid pikemen there, let's just pause the game for a second. Okay, not only are the Seleucid pikemen attacking my Macedon troops, but I'm aware of the Brutii infantry pulling in towards me as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to face a couple of Macedon pikemen facing the enemy Brutii, while I use the rest of my pikemen to attack the Seleucid infantry there. If you notice here, Bark's infantry is showing their flank to the Brutii infantry there, so that's, maybe he hasn't noticed that, he's probably concentrating elsewhere. But here's some good news. Legion 22 has just routed the Brutii general. Okay, so Legion 22's spearmen have just routed the Brutii general, and they routed a lot of those Brutii units there. So this is good news for our team here on this left flank. So well done to Legion 22 with his Carthage Sacred Band. So he's done well there. And what we need to do now is to try and get those Carthage bands to attack the rear of those Seleucid pikemen if we can.
The enemy general is slain, and now he's
I think I've just killed the Seleucid general there. And of course, as we know, the Seleucid morale is not very good anyway, so to kill the general is a good thing for us to have done there. But as you can see, I've only got a few. What have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've only got 5 or 6 of my Macedon units left. The rest have all been routed. Okay, so now I'm facing a double attack here. The enemy Brutii infantry. Can you see that Brutii cavalry charging into the flank of Bark's infantry, and bang, as that cavalry hits. So you can see Bark's remaining 4 infantry units that are all battle damaged are being smashed by the enemy troops, their enemy cavalry there. So to say, my 5 or 6 Macedon pike units here I've got facing both ways here, trying to kill as many of the enemy as we can. But as I say, the enemy are looking to roll us up from right to left here. See that Brutii cavalry just tried to charge into the flank of my pikemen there. But luckily, can you see Legion 22, after defeating the enemy Brutii Roman general there, are now charging his spearmen up into the rear of the engaged Seleucid infantry. Okay, so what I'm looking here is for a hammer and anvil attack. My Macedon infantry being the anvil, and Legion 22's Carthage being the hammer. Okay, hammer and anvil attack there on those Seleucid troops. But there's a lot of enemy Rome Brutii troops here ready to attack. Let's say, luckily Bark still got his general alive, giving morale bonus to all our troops there. Meanwhile over here, Bark has used his cavalry there to try and charge down those archers. And looks like he's looking to maybe take on some pike units over there as well. But his cavalry at the moment are a long way away from the main battle here. As you can see, we've got JGP's cavalry. He's still got 6 units. They might be battle damage, but he's still got 6 units of cavalry. Now that could maybe make a difference towards the end here. But anyway, back to this hammer and anvil attack. As you can see, Legion 22's Carthage Sacred Band charging into the rear of those engaged Seleucid pikemen. Nice hit there. When I saw those Carthage Sacred Band coming in, I thought, thank goodness for that. Really well done there. It's a glimmer of hope here now. A lot of those Seleucid pikes, remember the Seleucid general's dead and the Seleucid morale's not very good anyway. So a lot of those pike units are starting to rout, which is just what we wanted there. You can see my general Macedon unit there is holding at the rear of my main fighting Macedon units there against that Brutii infantry. But with the Carthage Sacred Band coming out, as you can see, most of the Seleucid pikemen have now been routed. Right, can you see some Brutii cavalry charging into the rear of my Macedon pike units? So I've got to turn quick. As I say, using pikes you can have fast reactions, and I know mine have slowed a bit over the years. That's why I don't bring pikes that often. But as you can see, I managed to turn those pikes there and have managed to neutralise that Brutii cavalry attack. So I'm really pleased with that. As I say, my reactions have slowed a bit over the years, and I didn't think I'd turn in time. Right, can you see there JGP's SBQR cavalry charging in? Bang! As that cavalry smashed into the rear of those engaged Brutii troops. Nice hit there by JGP. He kept his cavalry very much intact there during the course of the battle and have used it extremely well. They're routing a lot of the Brutii troops. Okay, right, can you see I've got my Cretan archers up on an elevated position here, and I'm shooting fire arrows. Now, who do you think I'm targeting here? Who do you think I'll be targeting? Right, I'm looking for that Brutii general. If you look here, can you see I've been shooting fire arrows into the rear of that Brutii general? See the burnt bodies? That's the burnt bodies of where my fire arrows have killed so many of his men in that unit, and I'm still targeting that general unit. Remember, I want to try and take out the general, which of course lowers the morale of those Brutii troops. But JGP's done extremely well with his cavalry there, smashed into the rear of those engaged Brutii infantry and routed loads of them. But as you can see, there's a lot of Germania cavalry left and a lot of the Seleucid cavalry left, and they're fighting Bark's cavalry, okay? Bark, remember last time we saw he was chasing down archers, he's just brought his cavalry back now and is fighting Germania and Seleucid tank cavalry there over on our right there, okay? JGP, as I say, been using his cavalry extremely well there. And that was a really good move by Legion 22 Sacred Band units there to kind of join in with my Macedon units there. If you notice now, I'm starting to attack with my Macedon units. They were in a defensive position. I've now turned defence into attack, and they're moving forward towards the Brutii infantry, wanting to engage them, allowing JGP's cavalry to charge and get ready for JGP's impact. And bang! As that cavalry smashes straight into the rear of those engaged Brutii troops, routing the Brutii general that had already been weakened by my archer fire. And we have now routed the Eagle unit as well, and the other Eagle unit that were with the Brutii troops there. So we have now managed to rout most of the enemy Brutii infantry there. If you notice, both Legion 22 and myself are moving our spear and pikemen forward there to engage enemy troops there.
Now he flees the
There's a lot of Seleucid cavalry left. I think the last of Germania cavalry has now been routed, and the last of Bark's cavalry has just been routed. So they've still got that Seleucid cavalry left. But if you look at the overall battlefield here, you can see I think we've managed to go on to win this battle here.
The enemy general is slain, and now his men fear us. It is time to
let's just
press
pause the game for a second.
attack.
Do you remember how this battle started off? Over on our right flank, we lost our SBQ, our ally there, over on the right flank. Okay, and it looked after we lost our right flank that the enemy were going to roll us up from right to left here. And to all intents and purposes, that is exactly what started to do, because Bark lost a lot of his Scipii infantry as well, and it looked like we were going to be rolled up from right to left. But luckily, with Legion 22s and my pike and spear units there, we managed to hold the line a little bit there. You can see there's still some Germania archer units left. My guess is he will probably start to be thinking about admitting defeat there.
A victory, if
I
not
say
quite a
JGP probably
glorious
charges
day.
cavalry, or the
The
Germanian
enemy
general
fought
has
well
just
enough to
admitted
stop another
defeat.
defeat.
So you can see it's an average victory, but I felt sure it was going to be a close victory there after what I saw in this battle. So as I say, we must have just scraped into average there, but I felt it would have been more fair if it had been a close victory there. As I say, we must have just scraped into average there. I'd just like to draw your attention to the highest kills in the game. Can you see that Aurelius, 1,644. He got the highest kills in the game, so well done to Aurelius there. And if you notice, the second highest kills was Legion 22, 2 less than Aurelius there, so it's really close there. So really well done, you two. Really nice kills. JGP didn't get the kills that he wanted to, but of course he was smashed quite early in that battle over on the right flank. But he still did extremely well with his cavalry. In fact, it was almost battle-winning tactics with his cavalry towards the end, smashing into that engaged infantry. So well done to him. I'd just like to say really well done to Aurelius, Cody Ray, Pogles Wood, who's Kornovite, and Kim Jong Lee. Really nice, aggressive attacking guys. Really well played. But also, I'd really like to say really well done to Bark, Legion, and JGP. Really well played, guys. And I hope you enjoyed watching so many different factions. Macedon, Carthage, Germania, Seleucid, and Rome. So it's nice to see so many factions. And I hope you enjoy seeing it fought on a different map. As I say, it's a Scottish Highland map, not very often used. This is Spartan Commander saying, hope you enjoyed the battle, and see you soon. Bye for now.